if you want to just like prop up your phone against your laptop and go live on like Facebook or wherever while you're doing your part for a portion of it, you can do that to try to get more people in because then you later go back and do a post and be like, if you want the companion guide and all of that stuff,
Oh yeah,
then
that's what it was. Can you put the guide in the chat so I can open it up, please?
yes, thank you. I don't know why I didn't think about sending that to you in Messenger too. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
That way you could go ahead and see it, but
Yeah, yeah, I
okay.
tried again yesterday because I said it's safe, and within 24 hours it'll unblock it, and it didn't.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was made me miffed.
It's really weird. I hope that everyone else was able to get it, but like I said, we can drop it in the chat here so
Right.
they can get it here.
Perfect.
All right. Hopefully that should work. I made sure there was nothing pro on it. That way, whether people pay for Canva or not, they can download it. I wanted to be able to just send it out as a PDF, but there was no way for me to do that exactly.
Ah,
So not without like making it a product that they would have to go put their email in again to download. So,
yeah.
all right. Well, it's 4 o'clock. So,
Should we wait a few minutes and see if anybody comes on or just get started or what?
if we want to give it 5 minutes, I think that'd be fine. I know the main person I was expecting to come tonight isn't going to be able to make it live tonight. She's going to be here tomorrow.
Mm.
For those of you on my YouTube, you're getting lucky because this is a summit that you had to sign up for, but we decided to just stream it. So you get a sneak peek. And if you want the workbook and the reminder links and to attend tomorrow or the VIP day, then you need to get signed up for it, which you can find in like so many of the posts that I put up lately, or just comment somewhere and I'll send the link.
Hmm.
This is gonna be really good.
I'm excited. Okay, I just put it on Facebook. We're live.
Woo. Yeah, I meant to do that, but I got like really busy today. I ended up getting home way later than I planned because I got
How
my
do I put
oils
it
in a
on
coffee
Facebook?
shop.
Did you go
Hmm?
to your favorite coffee shop again?
Yeah, and they're gonna sell my oils.
Yay! Did you post
Yeah,
about that?
yeah,
I didn't see I saw your picture with one of the oils in your hand and I didn't read the rest of the post because I was just scrolling fast, but
yeah.
okay, how do I
Yep.
put this on Facebook? Can I?
Um, I don't know if you can do it through Zoom. You can try. Um, if you go to more, there's a live stream option, and you might be able to do it that way. But I don't know. I don't think two people can do it. Um,
Okay.
you can just like do a post and then share the link if you want to be like, hey, we're live now for UnMasked or something like that if you want.
Okay, maybe you can start the recording for us.
Yes, record to the cloud. All right, we're live. Yay.
Okay. Hello, hello. I'm just seeing if I can actually like go live in this group real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
But
Take
um yeah, here we go.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, I might not be able to. Oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, I just looked and I can't do it either.
I think it's because our camera is already being used for something else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever. Not gonna live stream then. We'll just do it this way. So, thank you for being here and welcome to our Unmasked. We are all here deciding to show up or watch the replays because something in the ads that we saw made us recognize the concept of wearing masks. And more importantly, because we're reaching for more authenticity in our own lives. Maybe we recognize that we feel alone in our relationships because because our people don't truly know us. They know our masks, the ones that we put on when we first met. Anyone know your rising sign? If you do, oh, well, if you don't know your rising sign, I would look it up because there are big clues within your rising sign about what masks you put on, especially with the people that you just first meet.
Yeah.
Or maybe you simply just don't recognize the human that you've become because it doesn't match what your soul came here to be. Regardless of what resonated to you, regardless of what brought you here, welcome. We are so happy to have you joining us, really. So much gratitude. A couple things. One, this is not going to be a high energy event. I just recently did a little Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi kind of summit. Whoop, whoop. But if you've ever done any of those, you realize that the energy is super high. They're playing like good music. They're trying to have you dancing, high energy. This is not that. This is going to be much, much deeper. We're tapping into something much, much deeper. Each of us three practitioners in our own way will be helping you to explore your relationship with us and authenticity and not just on the surface. We're going to be going deeper into the subconscious even to look at the difference between who your soul is and who your body is being. Today, I'm going to show you how to connect with and choose your authentic expression in any given moment. I will guide you into creating a felt sense of that for yourself. We will take a journey. I will guide you inward to experience yourself in a new way. Even if you've done this exercise with me before, each time you do it, you can tap into these centers just a little bit deeper and notice what's different now than was the last time you did this exercise. In our busy, disconnected world, it is a gift and a blessing to be able to have that kind of time to spend with and inside of yourself. So thank you and thank yourself for taking this time to tap in. The masks that we have adopted, even though they may have caused us to be in the state that we're in, wanting more authenticity and realizing where that's necessary, the masks we wear are not our enemy. They served a purpose for a long time and deserve gratitude. So after I lead you on a little journey inside yourself, I'm going to pass the torch to Darlene. Darlene facilitates subconscious transformations, mostly for women, especially in menopause. And she is going to take you on a little exploration of your inner parts and how to meet them with compassion. And then the lovely Sammy will come on. Sammy is a shadow alchemy guide, and she is going to take you down to the roots. She is going to help you explore how these patterns began and introducing the concept of survival spells, which, as I understand it, is the rules that we have obeyed so often in our lives that they became who we are. So Sammy's going to take you through that. And without further ado, I'll get started. How present are you in your life? Do you have practices that anchor you into you? Do you know what it feels like to be present in your body? Today, I'm going to take you on a little journey so you'll be able to feel into that for yourself. But why? Why would we want to do that? Self-mastery, of course. Because once you can tap into what's truly you and get used to feeling into what's truly you, you can decide how you want to be based on who you are, not just your patterning. We put our awareness in different places every day. Whenever you're thinking about a conversation that you had with somebody, a part of your consciousness is in that conversation, even if it's not happened yet. And the ones that are already happened, that you keep replaying, you've left a piece of you, and a part of your consciousness is still with that person in that conversation. You can close your eyes and think about being at the Eiffel Tower and making it as real as possible. And a part of your consciousness is at the Eiffel Tower. Or even just think about how when you're driving and you get somewhere or you miss your turn or whatever, you're just on autopilot. You're driving, you don't really know how you got home, you don't remember how you got home. You assume you take the way that you always took, but you don't exactly remember because your consciousness was not with you driving. Your consciousness was on whatever it is that you were thinking about while you were driving that took you away from the presence of driving. Or how about when you're in a conversation with your husband and he starts down that same little thing, and all of a sudden your consciousness goes into pattern and you start that trigger. He triggers you and you go into whatever it is that you do, whether you yell back or whether you shut down or whether you walk away or whether you try to make everything good and so that he's not upset or whatever it is, right? Your consciousness goes on autopilot somewhere else. Not exactly what you'd planned. So this little exercise today is going to be about choice, about giving yourself the experience of what it's like to be present in different places in your body and how you can respond differently and why from each place. Conscious awareness, which is what we're going to be doing, brings awareness to the behavior, not necessarily the thoughts that create the behavior, but the behavior itself. Shadow work. This is shadow work, basically. This is shadow work. This is the kind of shadow work that I do. This is what I work with people when they come to work with me as a practitioner, is bringing awareness to the behaviors that you find problematic or that you would rather not exhibit. The patterns, the habits, the reactivity that you go into with the trigger. So we first look at the behaviors, and then we trace our way back to the trigger. And then further from the trigger, what did you need? When you were triggered and you went into the behavior of reactivity, what was it that you were looking for to change with your behavior, your reaction? What did you want it to do? And then the need. What is it that you needed in that moment? That is shadow work. I am a shadow work coach. My name's Miranda. For those of you who don't know me, lots of you do, but some of you do not. My name is Miranda. My background is in registered nursing, so I have a medical background, but I have shifted out of that into a much more holistic way of practicing. My own health led me to this more holistic approach. I also fix people's brains with lens, low energy neurofeedback. And shadow work is a part of all of those sessions as well, because it is so important to every transformation that you're working for. I'm also an intuitive. I trained in intuitive studies with a teacher for 6 years. I've been an initiate with the Rose Priestess Priestess training. I did that for 3 years. And I'm a certified womb massage therapist. All of those things requiring deep shadow work as part of the process. It's just giving a little background on who I am and why you should listen to me. So now we're going to get into the exercise that I have planned for you today. Like I've said a couple times, this is a journey into self. And the journey into self is something that we will do each day of this summit, just in a slightly different way. Today is a very intro way to do it. I'm going to just show you kind of how to feel into different parts of yourself. Tomorrow, we will also be going into yourself, but it will be in a different way with a different map. This exercise today will probably take about 15 minutes. I want everybody to know before you do this that sometimes it does feel like you go deep into yourself. And so I want you to know that I'm going to take you in and I'm also going to bring you back out. You should feel grounded and connected during and also afterwards. This exercise is to start to change your antennas so that they're pointing inward. What do I mean by that? I mean that when you were a child, you probably learned how to put your antennas out so that they are scanning the room. They're scanning everybody around you. You know, just think back to childhood when you walk into a room that your parents are fighting in, and you feel the change in energy. And so you're scanning both of your parents to know, what do I need to do? Who do I need to be in this moment to keep myself safe? Do I need to be a people pleaser? Do I need to disappear and just not be noticed right now because I'm just going to piss somebody off? What is needed for me to be safe in relation to those people's mood and emotion? And that then becomes a habit. We're always scanning everybody in the room. What's going on with everybody? How do I be safe in this room? How do I belong in this room with these people? But what about what you need? What about what you need from the room? What about walking into a room and just being like, actually, I don't like the energy in here, so I'm going to go somewhere else. Instead of, how do I need to adapt so that I can belong in this room? Your triggers pull you to pattern almost instantly. And I'm just going to hit on one more little little tangent here, that when you are reactive because of a trigger, so let's say you're in that conversation with your husband and he says the thing and you react and you yell at him or whatever you do, in that moment, you have become an energy vampire. You have now decided that the feelings that you're feeling are so unbearable that your reaction is there to change it, to make your husband do something different so that you don't feel the discomfort. The reactivity is just a way to get your needs met. So, this is kind of what we're going to be doing in this exercise, is what you do when you pause. When you have that pause, your husband triggers you and you take a moment, even if it, like they say, you're just like, oh my goodness, he is going to get a piece of my, and you like just take that pause before you really give it to him. But instead of taking the pause before you really give it to him, you can take that pause to think about who you want to be in that moment. Do you want to be an energy vampire by reacting and forcing some sort of response from him that's probably not going to be the one you want? Okay, we all know that, right? Choosing is a bit harder in the moment, but with practice and after exercises like this, when you can like really feel into what it feels like to have that choice, it starts to become easier. You have that point of reference for which to come back to. Okay. I think that's all I wanted to say leading up to this. Again, I will bring you in, I will bring you out, and I will do a little bit more narrating throughout this exercise. But for now, this is also not only just whatever I described it as, but it's also kind of an intuitive exercise. This is one that I always do early on with my intuitive development students or any students that are working with me on intuition, because it is a mastery. It is an intuitive mastery. It is taking your consciousness, your awareness, and being masterful with it, knowing what to do with it, knowing where to put it, knowing how to use it in those places. Okay. So we're ready to go do this. I'll have you close your eyes. And just take a couple of breaths with the intention of settling down into the body. So much of our life is spent kind of popped up out of the body. Like just think about anxiety or tension. It's a literal constricting and pulling up away from the earth. So grounding is, by definition, the opposite. We're going to relax downward towards the earth, almost like opening your body like downward. And then I want you, to the best of your ability, if it's a new concept, do the best you can. But I want you to take your awareness, your conscious awareness, and bring it into behind your eyes in the center of your head. For some of you, it might be new. It might feel like you're bringing yourself through a bunch of static, or it might feel full in there. That's totally okay. The more work you do with this, the better it will be, but do your best for today. And come in, see if you can come in just a little bit further back and maybe just drop down a little bit so you're down behind the eyes. And then relax the top of your head. Just imagining that the skin on top of your head is just draping over your skull. We often don't even notice how much tension we hold in the top of our head until we do this. Notice how when you relax the top of your head, it actually just makes your whole face relax. Relax your forehead, imagining if there's any wrinkles on your forehead, they just fall downward and smooth out. And see if that changes how deeply you can get behind your eyes. See if that allows you to come in behind your eyes just a little bit deeper. And while you're here, as you look around the inside of your head, make it with your imagination. You've probably all seen Inside Out, like, with everybody at the control panel. Okay. Well, if a control panel is what you want, cool, you can make it look like that. But if you want like a little she shed, with some love sacks and your favorite color on the wall and decor, like whatever place you would just want to like lose yourself in and just be in and hang out in. Because this is the helm of your ship. This is much like Inside Out, the place where you can be present in order to respond and evaluate and respond to what's happening as opposed to going right into reactivity. The information that you can take in and evaluate from the center of your head, you can do from neutrality. This is a place where you're just taking in information and responding, like, period. There's no emotion here. There's no, you can't really get buried in anything, but you can be present enough to handle it. So get used to this spot. If you want some homework, bring yourself here to this spot as many times of the day as you can to just create that habit of presence, neutral presence. And so just notice what it feels like to be behind your eyes. Is this ever where you are? When you came into behind your eyes in the center of your head, do you remember where you came from? What direction? Were you above your head? Were you behind it? Me, I'm always like right in front of my face, so I always have to pull myself straight back. If you didn't notice this time, that's fine. Try to pull yourself in behind your eyes in the center of your head multiple times a day and find out where you're coming from. Where do you like to hang out your conscious awareness when you're not specifically present? Again, just noticing how easy or hard it was to get back there. Noticing the room you've created of comfort for yourself where you can man your ship. Notice from behind your eyes in the center of your head. If you look up and forward, you can see your third eye. You can kind of see out your third eye. You can look up above you and see the top of your head, noticing that behind you is the back of your head, and seeing below you the body that just goes down all the way to the floor. And it's all yours. This is where you belong, inside your body. And now let's just move down. Take one hand and put it on the center of your chest. And I want you to drop your conscious awareness from behind your eyes in the center of your head into the center of your chest, into your heart space. And as you feel your hand on your chest, I want you to feel your hand from the inside of your body. So from the inside of your body, feeling the hand coming towards you, down on top of you from on the inside. Notice how much space your hand takes up on your chest. Noticing the temperature of your hand. Again, you're noticing from the inside of your body the temperature of your hand on your chest. Maybe it's warm, maybe it's cold. Maybe you can also feel your shirt and the material in between your fingers and your chest. Or maybe you can just feel your bare skin against your chest. When I know that I have to listen and speak with love and compassion, I will do this. I will literally drop myself down into my heart space, put my hand on my chest, and consciously feel my hand on my chest from the inside. And I will do this for the entire conversation because it keeps me grounded and it keeps me in my heart space. You'll notice that when you're in your heart space, your voice gets softer. I do this especially when I'm talking to my kids or clients so that I remember to just hear and respond with love and compassion. That's it. No judgment, not even neutrality, but love and compassion. Because some conversations require that, right? And if you're going into that conversation knowing that you might get triggered by something, be in your heart space for it so that you don't. So that you can just be love in that moment, if that's what you want. But it is your choice. So while you're here in your heart space, just feel into what that feels like. How easy or hard was it to get into the heart space as compared to the head space? Notice how different it feels to be in the heart space as opposed to the head space. Which one did you like better? And finally, I would now like for you to go ahead and drop that conscious awareness down all the way to your sit bones. On the inside of your body. And from the inside of your body, notice what your booty feels like on the outside. Like maybe feeling into first your underwear, if you're wearing any, or if they're touching your booty. If they are, what's the material of them? Are they silky? Are they just cotton? Can you feel that material on the skin of your booty? And again, you're feeling this from the inside out, right? But what about your pants? If you're not wearing underwear, your pants. Noticing that if you're wearing leather pants, that's going to feel differently on your booty skin than it would if you're wearing jeans or sweatpants or yoga pants. right? So just noticing what that material feels like coming in contact with your body. And then how about the cushion in your chair? Is it a hard metal chair? Because you definitely can feel that metal through your booty, right? Or a hard wooden chair? You definitely can tell that you're sitting in a hard wooden chair as opposed to metal. But what about if you're on a couch? Is it a really cushy couch that you sink way down into, or is it more hard and firm? The chair you're sitting on, does it have a cushion, a pad? Does that make it a little bit less hard? Right? And then notice there's nothing to fix or change, just noticing your body. From the inside out, is one of your sit bones sinking down further into your seat than the other? Do you have any wrinkles underneath one side that isn't there on the other? Or are you sitting on a seam that you can notice underneath you? Notice also how easy or hard it was to either get down all the way into those sit bones or to stay there. Some people have a hard time being that present, that they're so deeply into their body. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just lack of practice. And when you're ready, I want you to go ahead and bring your conscious awareness back up behind your eyes in the center of your head. Notice that journey of coming up and how it feels to be back in your she shed. And see if you can stay here in the center of your head for as much of the rest of this as possible. So you can be present. If you want to slip down into your heart, that might be okay too. But see how present that you can be for the rest of our time together throughout your exploration of parts with Darlene or with your journey with Sammy. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. I now pass the torch to Darlene. Thanks for playing.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miranda. That was simply amazing. I've never done something like that before. And it was very interesting to go behind my eyes and then go down my spine to my heart center and then doing something that completely unusual of, feeling that how I'm sitting is there. So yeah, that was just simply amazing. Thank you so much. Let me just get my mat to stand on now that I'm off my chair. I like to stand. All right. So if anybody's seeing this, yes, there is a cat in my world. And yes, she is deciding that she wants to be on camera too. So, so let's start with how angry you can get sometimes. One morning, I was just trying to make oatmeal. That was it. Nothing dramatic, nothing life-changing. It was just oatmeal. It was a fall day. And I reached into the cupboard to grab out that bowl. And it wasn't just the bowl that came at me. it was a bunch of bowls because it got stuck to the shelf paper. And when I pulled it, like other bowls came crashing down, and I just started getting so angry. I lost it. I wasn't irritated. I wasn't annoyed. I was enraged. It was like this dragon from Shrek came out, and I was breathing fire, and I was yelling and screaming at this poor little bowl, and my wings were flapping, and I was just trying to get everything back into the cupboard and pick up pieces of broken glass, and it was just out of this world. It wasn't me. It was just a bowl. But my body didn't feel like it was just a bowl. My body, it felt like it wasn't safe. Something was attacking us. So maybe you've had your own version of a bowl. Maybe it was traffic, road rage. Maybe it was the laundry when all the sheets get bunched up together into like knots. And it's like, how the heck did this happen? Maybe it was in the grocery store. You went for a couple items that were on sale and they didn't have anything. It's like, how can this store have things on sale? And you just get so annoyed. And you know, and then, the sound of somebody breathing or eating, chewing, because apparently breathing and eating is a personality flaw when you're not feeling your best. So that's where there's a problem. Because PMS and menopause is just not the physical, it's emotional as well. For PMS, we've all experienced those bad cramps. I used to get cramps all the way down my legs and gushes. And then when menopause hit, it was, I was warned about the hot flashes, the night sweats, the sleep issues, and the weight changes. But very few women are prepared for the anger and irritation and then the shame that happens, because it's emotional whiplash that can make them wonder, who the heck was that? Where did that dragon come from? So it's that emotion that you don't know where it's come from. And you might be asking yourself, just why am I so irritated? Why do I feel so emotional for no reason? Like, this shouldn't be pissing me off. And why does everything feel so hard to handle these days? So, like, why do I not recognize myself anymore? This is ridiculous. Who is becoming this person? I'm not the one that is angry at things and people. I'm the good girl. I make peace for everybody. Just like Miranda was saying, you walk into a room and you judge it. You just judge it to see who you have to be. Because menopause can feel like a second puberty. You've gone through that when you were in a teens, and then PMS hits and everything, and your irritability radar is just on high alert. Your stress responses are changing, and all these hormones are so different. And then just suddenly, things that used to roll off my back like a duck with water, they just hit me in the chest. And it's just like, I don't know if I can handle this. This is ridiculous. So drop in the chat if you don't recognize yourself anymore. Or number two, if your reactions are starting to affect your relationships. And number three, if you're tired of sitting on the sidelines because you don't trust yourself anymore, so you're staying home. And if at times you felt all three, just either type all or type 4, because it's just not a regular day that things happen. It's just little pieces of different days. So I want you to know whatever you typed, there's nothing wrong with you. Your emotions are not proof that you're broken or that you're now this person. It's just information. So think of it as the emotions are a smoke alarm. They're not the fire. This is how you're just reacting to something. It's your protector part that is coming up, or your inner child that wants the attention because it's been swallowed down, those emotions, for whatever has happened to you in your life. Because the bowl that fell out of that cupboard on me that day, that wasn't a real problem. The bowl was just my smoke alarm. It was the thing that set off the alarm. But it wasn't the source of the fire. And thank goodness I was alone. So nobody besides the cats experienced this. Your outbursts may not be the whole problem. It just might be the signal, the smoke signal. Underneath the anger, you might be exhausted. There might be a lot of grief, fear, because you don't know what's happening with your body. They didn't tell me this was going to happen. Mine was a lot of old pain that I kept swallowing down and pushing it down and down, and feeling unseen and unheard. And that protector part is just there trying to keep you safe. And the inner parts, just like the Inside Out movie, is where you're got that control panel and sadness is just leaning against the panel, pushing up something. And you got joy over there going, no, no, sadness, don't do it. But, it's just what the part is trying to tell you. The anger is just not all of you. The part is tired. It's feeling dismissed. And that part doesn't want to be ignored anymore. The part is saying, I just can't hold this together anymore. So mine was, I was always the good girl. I never rocked the boat, but I was sexually abused by an uncle. And I was so ashamed, I didn't tell anyone. And it wasn't until my cousin then came out and said, no, Mark did this, that everybody then said, oh, and it's like, yeah, he did that to me too. And then I felt so much guilt and so much remorse because I could have protected her. And I didn't protect my cousin. I'm having a fight with a cat right now. So the grief that I felt of losing my innocence, and it was just one moment in time. So I want you to get quiet and think of one recent moment when your reaction felt bigger than the situation. Do not pick the biggest trauma of your life. Pick something manageable. Maybe a conversation that you had with your husband or partner or a boss or a coworker. Or maybe it was a task. Maybe it was a question you asked and you just got dismissed. Or you came home and the house was a mess. As soon as you walked in that front door, shoes and coats everywhere. Or you walked into the kitchen and the kitchen was a mess. Dishes all in the sink, and you left it clean. So it shouldn't have that much. So just pick something small that all of a sudden in that moment, it felt huge. Now, I want you to ask yourself this. What did I feel in the moment? Was it anger? Was it shame because you've just had this outburst? Was it fear? Was it embarrassment because somebody saw you with this outburst? Was it guilt because, oh no, it's happened again? Or were we just so overwhelmed because you're trying to hold everything together? So now instead of saying, I'm angry because this happened, try saying, a part of me feels angry because X, Y, and Z. Or a part of me feels unseen. Mostly mine was, a part of me feels unsafe. Things weren't safe for me. So then you can ask yourself, if this part of you could speak, what might it say? Maybe it says, I'm tired. Maybe it says, I need help. Maybe it says, no one listens to me. I say the same thing and then they say it 5 minutes later and they that get the credit. Or I can't do everything anymore. I'm just ready to fall apart and not do anything. Or mine was, I don't feel safe. I'm afraid I will be judged, could be somebody's. I'm afraid I will be abandoned. Because everybody should be done pretending I'm fine. That was my biggest thing. I was always, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's great. Meanwhile, I was falling apart on the inside. I wasn't fine. I wasn't great. Things were just too much for me. Now, ask this part of you, what are you trying to protect me from? Now ask, what do you need from me today? Place one hand on your heart, in that heart center, if that feels comfortable, and say silently to it, I see you. I hear you. You are not bad. You're not wrong. You're just trying to protect me. And today I'm willing to listen. See how they react. This protector part, this inner child. So put in the chat if you want to hear the 3 simple steps I've got to come back to yourself. Put a me in the chat and I'll go through them one by one. Step 1, listen to the signals. The reaction, it's not your identity. It's just information. Step 2, try and release what's underneath it. Like Miranda said, what's going on? What is really flipping the switch here to make you angry or upset or whatever your reaction was? In step 3, you really need to support the part of you that's trying to protect you. Ask yourself, what did this part of me need then? And what part does she need now? What does she need? So this is how we can stop making ourselves the problem and start seeing the pattern. Oh, stop it. I'm going to have to stop talking with my hands. So just start seeing the pattern. And once we can see the pattern, then that's our clue on how we're going to be able to release it. So tomorrow, we're going to be going through an exercise with your subconscious to try and get the part of you that's been acting out and wanting the attention to get some understanding of it. Because you're not the outburst. You're not a woman in a powerful transition, and something inside of you is asking to be seen, supported, released, just what's pent up inside. For me, it was just swallowing all that hurt from before I was 12 years old. And if you need to, you can book a session with me. And I'm a great listener. But tomorrow, we're going to go deeper into the masks that we're put on, because sometimes anger is just not the anger. Sometimes it's the mask that we put on because of years of people pleasing, perfectionism, overgiving, and keeping everything together. And when the mask no longer fits, your real self starts asking to come forward. And it's not the angry self. It's the part of you that has been suppressed for so long. It's just the part of you that not who you were in your 20s or your 30s. It's the part of you that says, hey, this is for me. It's my time to shine now. It's who you really want to become. It's the people in your life that you love, you want to be using your heart center for, and get them to be, show them the loving compassion person that you are, not the angry person that has just been tormented by years of swallowing down what's happened. The physical or the emotional abuse, because the statistics, they don't show what's not reported. They're showing what is reported for those people that are brave enough to report either the emotional or the physical abuse or the sexual abuse. So tomorrow we're going to dive deeper. We're going to talk with that protector part. And make sure you're going into your workbook, because there's lots of prompts that you can journal in here. You know, Sammy has a survival spell. You know, how did I learn to live by my, what did I do to survive? And then there's lines for you to figure it out. Just get nice and quiet and start talking to your inner self. You might find it strange at first, but it's really helpful, because you're the best you've got, and there's only you for the rest of your life. People will come in and out of your life either for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But you've always got you. No matter where you go, you've always got your head, you've always got your heart. So make friends with your inner parts so that they can become your cheerleader. Because it is only you. And stop it. Never mind. Okay, tomorrow you're getting locked out. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Sammy now. And Sammy's going to be talking to you about all kinds of different masks that she's been working with people with. And again, she might bring up the moments before you choose differently. You know, like Miranda said, just take a pause and then work from your heart center. And if you need the workbook, we can put it into the chat. It was emailed to you, but some of you might have had problems with Norton like I did. So just ask for it and we can put it in there. And Sammy,
Yep.
it's all for you now. Thanks,
All
everybody.
right. Awesome. Thank you. I forgot to stop the recording and start it again in between our last one. So there, whoops. Remember for this one. All right. Thank you, Darlene. That was really amazing.
Start the recording again.
I think a lot of us can really relate to saying fine, especially as women, saying I'm fine. I'm fine. For me, fine meant fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. That was my definition of it underneath it all when I was saying it. So, yeah, I think a lot of us can really relate to what you were saying there. So, before I jump into what I'm going to talk about, I want to tell y'all something that was really, really ironic. When I started getting ready for all of this, I caught myself starting to put on my speaker mask. I caught myself trying to sound smarter and be more polished than I actually am. And, just kind of be like, I have everything figured out and like a real speaker would be. So I realized that, you know, that wasn't really what I needed to be doing because we're at a summit called Unmasked. We're over here asking all of you to take your mask off and get a good look at yourself. And I was over here trying to put one on. So I made a decision to be really intentional about being me and not giving y'all speaker Sammy and just showing up as me because I really think that the version of me that just sits across from someone having a conversation and is like, okay, what's really going on is going to help a lot more people than the version of me that's trying to sound like I have it all figured out and be impressive. And Miranda is actually one of the people that's really helped me realize that and get more comfortable being authentically me. So that is who you're going to get over these next couple of days. And I hope that that takes the pressure off of you. You don't have to have all the right answers here. You don't have to say the right thing. You don't have to prove how much healing you've done or that you've got it all right. You can just show up exactly where you are. And I think that that's where real change actually starts. Sugarcoating it, hiding stuff, it doesn't get us where we want to be. When we actually look at the truth and we get real and look at everything underneath it all, that's when we can really start seeing change. And the reason that I care so much about all of this is because I was trying to figure myself out too. And I was really a chaotic mess for a long time. I got a lot of things wrong and asked a lot of really uncomfortable questions of myself. And somewhere along the way, I realized that I wasn't the only one that was trying to figure this all out. So, if you're curious about my full story, I shared all of that on a podcast. I didn't want to do this like most speakers do. And, like, as y'all can tell, like, all of this has been different from maybe most summits you've been to, where speakers want to tell their whole story and all that. Not trying to do that. So, if you want to hear it, it's on a podcast. I'll get you that info. But today is about you. So the reason I brought all of that up is really because it has everything to do with how I teach and how I approach things. If you've been around me or my content for a while, then you probably noticed that I really look at things differently than most people do. And there's a reason for that. And a big part of it is that I don't think that we need more information. A lot of us are really overloaded with information. There's information everywhere out there. You can find way more than you need on any topic at any time. So, yeah. And I feel like most of the people that I talk to, they've done the work. They're not new to this. They've read the books, they've listened to the podcasts, maybe they've done therapy, they've gone deep in the shadow work. Maybe you're actually a little tired of trying everything because it gets exhausting eventually, especially when nothing is really actually getting you the results that you want. The point is, most of us aren't starting from zero. And sometimes all it takes is actually looking at something a little bit differently than you have before to be able to really change something. So I'm not asking you to sit here and just agree with everything that I have to say. I'm just asking you to get curious enough to see if this fits your experience. I don't want you to just believe me. I want you to experiment with it, play with it, notice what actually happens. And if it helps, then keep it. If it doesn't, you don't have to. Because if you leave this summit just agreeing with every single thing I said, but you never actually experience any of it or try any of it, then nothing is really going to actually change. So see what happens with it and discover whether it's true for you or not. So before we get into all of the things, the survival spells that Miranda mentioned and identity and all of that stuff, I want to start somewhere much simpler than that. And I want you to think back over the past week for a second. Did you have one of those moments where you walked away from a conversation or something where you reacted in a way that you wish you hadn't? Maybe you stayed quiet when you really actually wanted to say something. And then afterward, you caught yourself thinking, well, that didn't really feel like me, or that's not how I wanted to show up. And I have a feeling that most of us can think of a situation like that pretty quickly. And if you did think of something, then I want you to stick with the first thing that came up for you. Don't overthink it, but hang on to that moment for me because here's something that I don't think. I don't think that any of these things are random at all. Those moments where we catch ourselves thinking, why did I do that again? I think those moments are actually trying to tell us something. And I want to offer you a completely different way of looking at it. So if you're willing to experiment with me today, I want you to go ahead and get your companion guide out and you can turn to the page that didn't feel like me. And Patty, let me know if you need the link for that. I'm gonna actually share my screen real quick. Actually, no, I don't want to try doing all that and end up messing something up. Sometimes I do that. So we won't do that. If you just have paper, that's fine too. You don't have to have the companion guide to be able to actually do this. You can just write it on paper. So too. So I don't want you to write the whole story down. We're not going to take a long time here. I'm not trying to take up a bunch of your time, but I want you to just write enough that you can remember this moment. because we're going to be coming back to this a few times throughout this talk. And yeah, I want you to be able to remember it. I can't talk words sometimes, they confuse me. But yeah, don't worry about making it sound good. Nobody is grading this, nobody else has to see it. This is just your space to be honest with yourself and go ahead and write about that moment that we talked about where maybe you didn't show up in the way that you want to. And let me give y'all just a minute here to do that and we'll get back to it.
Sammy, which page?
Um, don't tell me. I think I actually it's the it's probably the one that says the moment before. Sorry, I have the wrong thing wrote down in mine. It's the first page that has my picture on it. Yeah. I somehow got the page names mixed up and like I don't know how I did that, but it's all good. Y'all have a place to write it. Thank you for mentioning that, Darlene.
Are we just writing about the thing? Like just what
Yeah,
happened? Or like how much do you want us to write about it?
yeah, just a little bit, just so that you can kind of be able to come back to it and remember it. It doesn't have to be super detailed. We're gonna go further with it and actually like dig into it a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep talking, but if you're still writing, that's fine. But yeah, just keep that handy because we're gonna be coming back to that memory a couple of times. Now, what if who you've been calling your personality isn't actually your personality? So I want you to stay with that moment for just a second, the one that you just wrote down. And you know how I was talking about afterward, after those moments were like, that didn't feel like me, or that's not how I wanted to show up. Here's what really gets me about the moments like that. If that's really who you are, then you probably wouldn't actually question it, right? You wouldn't walk away from it wondering, why did I do that? Or why do I keep doing this? You'd probably just think, well, I guess that's just who I am. I guess that's just what I do. But you didn't. Something in you noticed that that wasn't you. Something in you knew that there was a difference in who you are and who you were showing up as in that moment. And I think that difference is really, really important. Most of us have been taught to just judge that gap. We shame ourselves for it. We feel guilty about it. And I think we're actually supposed to just get curious about it. So when you think about that moment, what story did you train your brain to immediately start telling you? Maybe it went straight to, I'm just anxious, or I'm just bad at boundaries. Usually we immediately make it mean something about us. So whatever came up, that's what I want you to stick with. Like, don't switch if another memory comes up or anything like that. Because I know sometimes like other things can come up, but I want us to stick with the first one because that's usually like the biggest thing. And also, don't try to change it. Don't argue with it. Just notice it. And I wonder if maybe you've been labeling yourself, like I said, instead of just getting curious about it. You do this thing and you automatically just assume that that means something about you. So what if instead of saying, I'm just a people pleaser, what if you started asking, how did I learn to become someone that people pleases? Those feel really, really different. One shuts the conversation down. It's the end of it. This is who I am. The other opens it up. The other gets you to deeper things. So let's go back to the companion guide again. And I want you to write down one label that you've been carrying. And then underneath that label, I want you to rewrite it as a question. So instead of something like, I'm just anxious, how did I learn to become someone who feels anxious? Instead of, I'm just someone that's bad at boundaries, how did you learn that setting boundaries wasn't safe for you? And remember that your first thought is probably the right one. Also, remember that we're not trying to solve anything today. All we're doing is practicing asking a different question. And I'm going to give y'all just a couple of minutes to write. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. But did that feel different to you? Like asking that question makes it all different. It's not because you figured it all out. It's because you stopped treating the label like it was a fact about you. And you don't even have to believe the new question yet. I just want you to notice that there's another way to see it. So, if these labels aren't actually who you are, then where did they come from? That's where I want to talk about what I want to talk about next. Because what if we didn't choose these identities? I definitely don't think we did. What if we inherited them? I don't think that we were born believing that we weren't enough, or believing that we had to earn love, or that we always had to be the strong one. We weren't born believing that life had to be hard. So where did all of that stuff come from? What I keep coming back to all of it with is that they didn't start as identities. They started as rules. From the time we were born, well, maybe not the time we were born, because we were allowed to cry when we were babies, but from pretty early in life, we were taught don't cry. We were taught not to be too much, to keep the peace, to be the good girl. We were taught not to make people mad, not to get angry, to figure it out for ourselves, to not ask for help. Or maybe yours wasn't any of those. Whatever yours was, that's not who you are. And the really, really crazy part is nobody ever actually had to say those words out loud. The kids are paying attention to everything. We learn from what people do just as much as what they say. We learn from what we experience. And over time, those rules become something so much bigger than that. And this is where we're going to talk about survival spells. This is my new word for it. I didn't have like a word for it initially. So this is my new way of explaining it. And before anybody gets all nervous or anything, I'm not talking about like, oh, somebody put a curse on you and that's why you do these things now. You're not cursed. I don't believe that at all. I'm talking about a belief or a rule or an experience that got repeated so many times in your life that it stopped feeling like something you learned and it started feeling like who you were. So think back for a second. When you were growing up, what was the unspoken rule? Yeah, exactly, Darlene. I'm bad about paying attention to the chat, but yeah, I heard keep crying and I'll give you something to cry about too. Exactly. We weren't allowed to do those things. But yeah, there were so many unspoken rules when we were kids that were there. And it's not what people said at all. It's what your nervous system learned. Things like keep quiet or don't be too much or keep the peace. Figure it out. What role did your nervous system learn that you had to play? Whatever came up for you, don't ignore it, but also don't judge it. Just want you to notice it. See, for most of my life, I wore being the one who endures like a badge of honor. I was the one that put everyone else's needs first. I'd eat later, I'd rest later, I'd deal with the emotions later. Didn't have time to stop. I had my first kid at 19. My second daughter was born 18 months after my first. I had to keep pushing. That's what I told myself anyway. And the worst part about it was people praised me for it. So why would I stop? They'd say, "You're so strong. You're such a good mom. I don't know how you do it all. How do you keep up with it?" So I wore those things with pride. But somewhere along the way, I didn't just become someone who could endure hard things. I became someone who believed that I had to all the time. And I didn't realize how much my worth had just quietly became tied to what I could carry. The more I carried, the more valuable I felt. The more I sacrificed, the better I thought I was. Especially because my kids didn't always have the best mom that they could have. So I felt guilty for a really long time. So even after I started healing, I was like, oh, I have to sacrifice because I put them through hard things. So I still need to endure things and have it hard because I deserve it. And looking back, that's really, really heartbreaking because so much of it was really built around the praise that I got from it because I craved that so much. And don't hear what I'm not saying because I'm not saying that endurance is bad. Okay, life is hard sometimes. Sometimes we might need to sacrifice a little bit. Sometimes we might need to carry heavy things for a season. Endurance isn't a problem at all. The problem is when it stops being a choice and it quietly becomes the only way that you know how to live. That's when a strength becomes a survival spell. So I'm curious. Yeah, exactly. Toxic endurance. But yeah, I'm curious. What do people always compliment you on? It sometimes feels really, really heavy for you to carry. Maybe it's being the strong one, being the responsible one. Whatever it is for you, it's all valid. Yeah, strong for me too, Darlene. Gotta just keep pushing through. So before we keep going, let's open the companion guide. This page should say My Survival Spell. Hopefully I titled that one right. I'll make sure I got the page titles right tomorrow for all of y'all. But yeah, we're not going to worry about filling out this whole page right now. You can do that later. I just want you to start with one question. What rule do I think I've been living by? And you don't have to know if you're right. We're just practicing noticing. There's tons of rules that you live by. So don't like overanalyze this and go crazy if I have to pick the right one. Most of us have several limiting beliefs and rules that we've been living by for a long time. Everything in the world pretty much creates conditioning or ideas of what things should or shouldn't be. Let me give y'all just a few minutes to write here. Okay, so I want to tell y'all thank y'all for trying this. I like to call them experiments with me. So you don't have to share it. You definitely can if you want to. But I hope you're starting to see something either way. These aren't personality traits at all. They're just brilliant ways that your system learned to protect you. Our mind gets really, really creative, and it is not made to make us happy or get us the things we want in life. That's not how it works. It's here to help us survive first. And if you've experienced trauma, if you've been through hard things, especially, it's definitely worrying about those things way before it's worrying about what you want. So, yeah, maybe this isn't your personality. Maybe it's just a survival spell that you've been practicing for so long that it started feeling like your personality. You stopped knowing how to set it down. So, over this next week, I want you to try some. The next time that you catch yourself reacting, I don't want you to rush to fix it. I don't want you to rush to judge it. Just get curious about it. Ask yourself, what survival spell is running underneath this right now? And you don't even have to know the answer and figure it out. You might not be able to at first. That's okay. You're teaching yourself a different question. You're teaching yourself a different pattern, that there is a different option and that there can be a different response to things. See, I think one of the biggest reasons that so many people stay stuck is because they've mistaken all these adaptations that were made to help them, but aren't getting them what they want anymore for identities. You start believing that's just who you are because you've repeated it for so long. I mean, some of us have repeated the same things for 30, 40, 50 years. You never know. Like, it's crazy. Do you really think if you've repeated something for that long that you can just immediately stop? It's like you become convinced that that's who you are, not that it's just something that you learn because you've been repeating it forever. So, yeah, I think a lot of us, we started believing that we we aren't enough, or that we need to earn love, or that we have to be the strong one. And I don't believe that's true because you didn't come into this world believing that. So that makes it not your identity. It makes it a story that you learn, that you've been telling yourself over and over and over again. And here's the part that I've really been fascinated by. If these survivor spells are something that you learn, then how do they end up becoming like how we feel like who we are? And I don't think that that happens all at once. I think it happens over time. Like I was saying, we just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. Maybe the first time you stayed quiet instead of saying what you really thought because it felt safer to. But then you realized that that was easier and that it was safer. So you do it again. And then you do it again and again and again. And then after a while, it stops feeling like something that you do and it starts feeling like who you are. And that doesn't make it true at all. It's just what you've been practicing. So it feels normal for you. And the weird part is that our brains are really good at confusing what's familiar, what what's true, and what's good for us. And before you know it, you built your entire identity and really your whole entire reality around something that is familiar versus being true. So think about this for a second, because I think this is where it gets like really, really interesting. How do you usually finish the sentence? I've always been. Maybe for you, that sounds something like I've always been anxious, or I've always been the responsible one. I've always been the strong one. However you finish that sentence, whatever popped into your head, don't change it. Just notice it. Don't judge it either. And now, instead of I've always been anxious or whatever yours may be, what if it became I practiced anxiety for a really long time? Like that changes everything, does it? Doesn't it? You remember when you were learning to drive, you had to think about everything, right? You had to think about where your hands were. You had to think about how hard you were pushing on the pedals. You had to really make sure you didn't hit anything. It felt like your brain was trying to do 100 things at one time. Everything took like your highest attention. My stepdad, he had the bright idea to actually teach me in the stick shift, even though we had an automatic too. So yeah, looking back, that was a really terrible idea, but I know how to drive one. But yeah, I remember thinking, I'm never going to get this. And then one day I drove all the way home and I didn't even remember the drive. I think a lot of people have done that. And you didn't become a driver overnight. You just practiced something enough times that it became automatic for you. And I think survival works the same exact way. What starts as something that we do on purpose, it eventually becomes something that we don't even realize that we're doing it anymore. We just do it automatically. So I want you to hear it in your own head one more time. I've always been what? Whatever it is for you. And now I want you to change it to I practiced. And don't worry if you don't believe it yet, that's okay. But did you feel the shift in how it felt, like saying that to yourself? Saying I've always been versus I practice should feel really, really different in your body if you pay attention to it. Like I said, you don't have to believe it yet. You don't have to try to convince yourself of it. We're just practicing looking at it differently. That's all it is. And eventually, once you look at it differently enough times, it starts becoming something you can believe. I just want you to get curious enough to wonder if there's another way to see it. Because a lot of times, for the longest time, like I just saw Darlene say that she's practiced being strong for 55 years. She's had these beliefs about who she had to be for 55 years. For 55 years, she probably never thought about looking at it another way. So sometimes, if we just get curious enough to start looking at something differently, we can really completely change it. And here's why this gives me so much hope, too. If you practice your way into these patterns, then that means that you can practice your way out of them, too. And yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by pretending or forcing positive thoughts. I really tried the whole fake it till you make it thing. It didn't end very well. But when we practice one moment at a time, one choice at a time, one pattern interruption at a time, and that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So don't worry if you have no idea what I mean by that. So, yeah, there's one thing that I hope you take away from today is that you don't need to fix yourself at all. You're not broken. It's that maybe you've just been judging yourself for something that you learned, not who you are, a pattern that you learned. And those are two completely different things. So between now and tomorrow, I want you to pay attention to every time you hear yourself say something like, that's just who I am. I want you to ask yourself, is that really who you are? Or is it something that you learned? That's it. You don't have to answer it today. You don't even have to, if you can't answer that question when you ask it, when it comes up, like it is perfectly fine if you can't actually answer the question. Just asking the question shows your brain that there's something different. So see what happens because sometimes one different question can change absolutely everything. And I know that some of the questions that we talked about today, they're not always easy to sit with. So thank you so much for showing up for yourself today and for asking those questions. And thank you for being willing to get curious instead of just jumping straight to judgment. That really takes a lot of courage. Like people don't realize sometimes how much courage it takes to heal. We have to look at a lot of shit that is not pretty sometimes. It takes being willing to see the parts of yourself that you don't want to look at. So thank you for being willing to do that. And I have a feeling that you're going to realize more than you expect between now and tomorrow. So, yeah, I will see y'all tomorrow. Did anyone else want to add anything? Are y'all good?
I
If
think
you are,
it's
go
brilliant.
ahead.
Just saying that I've been pretending or practicing being the strong one, the good girl, because it just wrapped my brain around something completely different. That's just brilliant. And I've been doing this work for a long time and it just changed, you know.
Yay.
Yeah. Because they always say, well, how can I make more money or how
Hmm.
can I change your thinking that way? But this really, you know since my parents have passed, it's been a case of, oh, I can do anything now. But
Hmm.
this is really putting it into, I don't have to practice being their favorite daughter because I was the only daughter. It is a joke, like, um, but yeah, it's just having to thinking of things completely different than, it's just like, I, that's just who I am. I've been completely out of saying that for a long time. But
Hmm.
to the point when my husband died 21 years ago next month, people were going, how do you continue? And it's just like, what choice do I have? It was my answer. It's just like, I have to keep going. there's no
Hmm.
there's no other option. It's like he's gone and I have to put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And I just put it on a mask because, survival of the fittest. Don't let them see that you're weak. And I would go to work every day and put that mask on and come home. And back then I was heavily drinking. Now I don't touch alcohol, but yeah, it was just to numb myself because I was in so much emotional pain.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that like shifted a way for you to look at it. I was really excited about today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that really made a big difference. And of
Cool.
course,
Well, I
Awesome.
would also just like to say that that was profound. I don't think that my answers quite exactly flowed with the way that I felt like you were asking them, but a whole process transpired and like I came to some really like beautiful epiphanies, actually. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad. Thank you. That makes me happy because yeah, when I was working on this, I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. I hope everyone else realizes how good it is because I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Well, all right. Was there anything that you ladies wanted to add before we turn the recording off or anything?
Nope, just really excited for day 2 when more shifts are going to happen for everybody. And if you weren't live
Yes.
today, here's the recording and make sure you're live tomorrow.
Yes. And if you haven't signed up for VIP yet, can you tell it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing? So
VIP
get signed up for it.
My segment for VIP is going to be the shadow of why you are keeping the mask on to keep you safe. And the mask is all the excess weight that we have. So
That's
that's a
cool.
very big, heavy one where, you know, there's some people like Sammy who won't remember to eat, and that's her mask. My mask was, where's the sugar? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So we all have a different perspective on different things. So, yeah.
Yep.
So
Yes.
pretty exciting stuff.
I, all right. Well, I guess that is it, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we got done at a way earlier time. We wanted to make sure we had enough and didn't go over on time. But yeah, like we're not trying to make this an info heavy thing. We're actually trying to like provide you with transformation. So yeah, make sure you join us tomorrow. Much love to all of y'all. I'll see you ladies tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Can you? And
Okay.
of course, she's a sweet little angel just sitting here looking around now.
Of
Meanwhile,
course
while
you.
I'm talking, I'm getting stabbed by these claws.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Oh, okay, that's great.
I just figured out why. I missed her 3 o'clock snacks.
Oh no, that's why. Yeah, she's trying to torture you.
Yes. All right. We'll see you all tomorrow around 1:45-ish again, and we'll get the bugs worked out.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Sammy.
Yep.